Okay guys, hope you're well. This is just an update video regards the strength sheet that I post for the Scruffy squad each morning. Now, you will still see the same sheet every day in the Discord group that I post up for you guys. But there's going to be an extra element to it added for the Rogue Squadron. And the reason being is I work out my biases every morning. Now, the various calculation that I do that corresponds with my analysis. And what I've done is I've formatted it onto the sheet so you can quickly identify a bias. It's not signals or anything, it's just giving you an idea of the strength, put my teeth back in, the trend strength. So let me pull the sheet up and I'll show you. Okay, so the sheet you see every day is this section here on this side of the black lines. And the extra part is this and the bottom section. Okay, so if you've not seen this before and you're relatively new to the Scruffy squad, all of you will see this section. Okay, and the way you read it is very simple. It tells you the ATRs, which is this section here, of all of the pairs. And basically the ATR can determine whether it's a swing trade or a day trade based on that number. So as you can see here, if you're trading the Aussie CAD, it only moves about 45 pips in a day. You're going to sit there all day on a 5-minute chart. So just look at a 4-hour chart. Makes life easier. Likewise, if you're trading the Aussie dollar, it moves 65 in a day. Look at it on an hourly chart. It's based on, basically, if it does 60, 65 pips and above, you can day trade it. If it's below, you kind of want to be looking at a swing trade. Saves you time. All right, so that's what that is. Okay, that little note is just the spreads tighten up after 7 AM in the morning UK time, because I'm obviously based in the UK. These calculations are the current strengths based over a number of time periods, which gives me the best and the weakest currency. So as we can see, the JPY is the strongest, the Aussie is the weakest at this moment in time. Now that is filtered down into this section here, which is the current strength. So if you don't want to go right the way through the sheet, you just look at the current strength and it'll tell you what the 3 strongest are pitched against the 3 weakest. Okay, and it'll work it out into a little matrix. So you can quickly look at them and think, well, I quite fancy the Aussie JPY today. There it is there. Okay, so you can pull your chart up, have a good look at it, and then you can look at the change of strength to see if there's any correspondence. Well, actually the JPY is losing ground and the Aussie is gaining ground, so it can give you a shift in your bias. All right, so at the moment, if you see in here, right, okay, this is going to be a short sell because the Aussie is weaker than there. However, what we're looking at down here is the yen is losing ground, the Aussie is gaining ground, so maybe that's slowing down. Now if they're in alignment, you can assume the trend is going to continue. All right, but then you need to analyze your chart. The whole idea of this is to help you pick products rather than direction. Okay, so that's kind of roughly how that section works. The added part is this. These are pretty much the 6 pairs that I'm looking to day trade at this moment in time. Now that little basket might change from time to time as markets change. I mean, there'll always be euro dollar there, cable, pound JPY. Those 3 will probably be there all the time. But as others rotate, you may take one out, add one in. You know, you might decide, right, I think the Aussie dollar is good, so I'll replace euro pound, but at the minute that's kind of the basket for my day trades. On this side, this is all of the currencies, and it's kind of what drives this section as well into whether I'm buying or selling. On here, it is a red light, green light situation. If the current bias is red, it is selling, it is short. If it is green, it is long, it is buying. And if the two of them are the same, it means the strength or the trend is stronger, or it's continuing rather. You know, down here there's a change in sentiment. So let's have a little look and see if we can break it down as a matrix, and I'll give you an idea. Because this here is the bias change. In other words, has the bias swapped from one day to the next? Because markets do go up and down all the time. And if we're looking for a continuation, you want to see, like there's the euro pound. So the last time I did the calculations, it was 3. It's now at 40. That is a massive influx into the market. Now, why is that? That is the question you have to ask yourself. And you come down to your 80-20 rule. Was that a news event? Was there a fundamental news that spiked the market? If there wasn't, then there's a big trend change. And you can ride that train. So it comes down to the 80-20. This is pretty much technically driven. All right. But if you see something that is out of the ordinary, 1000%, just check the news to see if there was something out of the ordinary. If there wasn't, then there's something happening, right? And you want to be involved in it. A good ratio for percentage change, it's kind of a 75-80% plus change from one day to the next will tell you that the bias is either continuing or changing. All right. So let's have a look, see if we can flick these through. So straight away, you've got a little basket here, just of this long. So are these worth looking at? Well, there's been a massive change there, so that's worth looking at. There's been a big change there, continuation possibly. Change in sentiment. This here, change, there you go, it's lost. So is whatever was happening on the pound CAD coming to an end? It's lost 86% of its momentum. Sure is. And we just work our way up. There you go. Swiss yen. It's lost 92% of its momentum. So there's loads of different things. So what about following the trend? Because that's what you say. The trend is your friend. Well, if we run down, there you are, pound Swissy. It looks like it's gathering momentum to the downside. Why? Because the last time I did this is minus 25. See, it's down. It's now minus 51, so it's really down. So that's a 100% increase in momentum. So if I pull up a chart, let's have a look. Pound Swissy, there we go. All right. And what these are, if you haven't seen these, I have these broken down into multiples, so I can see all of my Aussie pairs together, all of my CADs, and it just works it all out. But we're on a pound at the moment. We're looking at the pound Swissy, which is this one, and that has just told us that there's been a momentum shift to the downside. So if I'm looking at this, now that's an hourly chart. If I go out to the daily, there is your momentum shift, and it is telling you it is rocketing down. That RSI is telling you it is moving down. That Bollinger Band is telling you it is moving down on the daily. Now this all filters down into the lower time frames. So if I'm looking on an hourly chart and I scroll this out, I would say that is a downtrend. And my sheet is telling you that this consolidation point here is going to continue to the downside. So what do? Well, you have a a bias of sell. So how do you sell? You sell the highs. Wait for it to retrace up a little bit, and every time it gets up to the top, you sell it. So it's give you a bias on the day. All right, and then that's where your strategy specific comes in. So whatever strategy you are putting forward into the market, you know that you tick your boxes when it's selling. Simple stuff. But that's the sheet. What's going to happen each morning, I will chop this section out, post it up for the guys as normal, and then in the rogue tab of the Discord, I will put the entire sheet, and then you'll be able to see what the biases are for the day, and if you are day trading, what my biases are, whether I'm selling or buying on that day. Okay, and there you go. I hope it helps. I've taken quite a while to write the scripts for these, and it seems to be falling into place. And I've checked it a few times, and it's just an added tool to help you. So just in recap, this section is exactly the same. You'll be looking here to find your strongest and weakest. You'll be looking there to see if there's a correlation. In other words, does the change of strength agree to this? If it does, then you can assume that the movement is still going in the same direction, or it's agreeing. If they are different, then you can see that whatever trend was going on at that time, it's slowing down. This will just immediately tell you whether you're buying or selling. You know, it's kind of a preference for the day. And then this is telling you every single currency, and that is your current bias, the last bias, and then the bias change. And what you're looking for is two colors to be the same to continue a trend. But what you are also looking at is this change. So for argument's sake, as we come down here, that last time was still to the short side, but it's slowing down. So you need to think to yourself, is this coming to an end? So when you see a support and resistance level, there's a fair idea that might hold. Why? Because it's slowing down. Likewise, when you come here, there's a massive acceleration. So you can buy up into the next level. In fact, we'll have a quick look at that one just while we are here. Okay, so is that euro pound? Well, straight away you can see it. That is about as extreme as it gets, and that's the 4-hour chart. If you look at the hourly, wallop, still got a lot of momentum in the market, but go out to your daily, have a look at it. There is your change of strength. That is a whopper. All right, let's go out to the other side. Well, if you were thinking to yourself there's going to be a change in sentiment, well, it looks like that level there, if we just drop that on, there you go, just thicken that up so you can see it, guys. There, just draw that down onto there. That level has held, wallop. So if that is going to motor up, there is the next strong level, just here. So if it breaks that moving average based on there, and that trend is going to continue, it's going to push up. And what does it marry up to? Top of the Bollinger Band. This is simple stuff, and this is on a weekly. So there's a lot of motion going there. Okay, drop this down onto a daily. What is going on? Well, it could easily squeeze up to the top of this section, which marries up to that. So you could drag that level down. Move that down. Just pull that down into there. There's that level. There's that level. That's moving up. that could squeeze up easily. So if you get your levels right, and you can see your trend, it'll give you a target. All right. So again, that sheet has pulled that out quite well. All right. Happy days. So there you go. Just quick and easy. If you've got any questions, by all means, fire them at me, and I'll do my best to answer them. Simple stuff. So trade well, keep the risk managed. Above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.